Fernando Alonso threatens to skip Miami sprint with not worth it claim after penalty. Slapped with 3 penalty points for causing a collision in the sprint in China, Fernando Alonso has questioned whether it's worth taking part in the next short race in Miami. Alonso was leading a fierce 4-way fight for the final podium position in Saturday's sprint at the Chinese Grand Prix weekend, only to come off worst, when he had to retire his AMR 24 with damage. It makes you think if in the next sprint you even want to run. Carlos Sainz was the first to attack Alonso, with the Aston Martin driver trying to fight back only for the two to make contact, opening the door for Sergio Perez to slide through. Suffering a puncture, Alonso was overtaken by Sainz and Charles Leclerc before limping back to the pits to retire the car. The stewards ruled that he was responsible for causing the collision and said, per the guidelines on driving standards, the infringement required a 10-second penalty. They, however, didn't state exactly what Alonso had done wrong. But while the 10-second time penalty was a non-entity given he'd retired from the race, the more impactful punishment was the 3 penalty points put on his license. That took his tally up to 6 in the space of just 1 month after his incident with George Russell at the Australian Grand Prix. These sanctions are not understood, and I do not share them, especially in the case of license points. Fox Sport Mexico quotes him as having told DAZN, "Such an incredible penalty is once again unprecedented." In fact, such is his ire over the penalty, he says it's almost worth not taking part in the next sprint in Miami. It makes you think if in the next sprint you even want to go out for a run, he said. Due to the points that are given and that we are not going to have the tires we use in the Grand Prix, it is almost worth not going out. Alonso had a better time in the Grand Prix, where his 3-stop strategy netted him 7th place with his late swap to soft tires, seeing him overtake Nico Hülkenberg, Lewis Hamilton, and Oscar Piastri. He admits this year's Aston Martin is not getting the podiums they had last season, not because the car isn't quicker, but because their rivals have stepped up. We start with a less competitive basis than last year, he explained. The car is better, almost 1.5 seconds faster than last year's car, as we saw in Japan. But our rivals are too strong. McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull are in a completely different league. It looks like we are P7 and P8, which is not as good as last year, but not because the car is worse. It's because the other teams are really good. 2 years ago, this team, Aston Martin, had a factory that looked like a karting industrial unit, and now we are qualifying ahead of Ferrari, Mercedes. So I'm very proud of this team, and there are 20 races left. Let's have fun. So now, what do you think? Click on the comment icon above to have your say and subscribe to the channel.